Hello, welcome to this week's video on SPF. So we're talking sunscreen, and we're also talking about the main question, is a higher SPF better? I'm surprised to get this question still from even advanced students. They forget. So this is a good recap for you guys too. All right, sunscreen is a very important conversation because if we're not using the right type, we could be contributing to our skin problem opposed to helping in the healing journey. So let's just quickly go through the number on sunscreen. Is higher better? Well, the short answer is no. It's definitely not better. Okay, now that you know, let's discuss why. Firstly, the numbers are very misleading. So this might confuse you, but let's keep it really scientific. So if let's say an SPF 20 that has 95% protection of UVB. Now, B stands for burning. None of this is protecting from UVA, which stands for aging, or artificial light, or oxidative stress. But don't worry, I've got you covered at the end. Okay, stay focused on this part. So the number. So at 95% is protecting us on a 20% or 20 factor SPF. So what would a 30 plus? 97, and then a 50 plus, 98. So what's the maths, my mathematicians? It's 3% difference from a 20 plus to a 50 plus. Now that shocks most people. Here's the risk. The higher the number, the higher that is going to create oxidative stress in the skin. So for me personally, I only recommend mineral sunscreens that I like a combination of titanium dioxide and zinc oxide. And then I'm also curious to make sure that the product has got what's called inorganic and organic particles. What does that mean and why is that important? Because one holds onto heat, so when the heat's hitting my skin, it's holding onto it, and the other one's a reflector. So if I'm using just organic and it's holding onto all that heat, that's kind of creates some oxidative stress underneath. So the combination is beautiful. So Environ sunscreen definitely offers that option, but it offers more because we've got UVB, which is protecting from the burning, but then it has UVA protection as well, and A protects from the aging, and then it has a ton of antioxidants. So antioxidants mop up that free radical stress. So let's think about a sunscreen you purchase over the counter that's a chemical sunscreen. So those chemicals you'll usually find on the back of it, there's an ingredient called an erythema blocker, which basically tells the skin, don't burn. Basically, it's a chemical that inhibits the reddening or the erythema of the skin. Here's the problem. Imagine you're driving your car and your fuel light pops up on the dashboard. And you're like, I need to go and find a petrol station and fill up my car because I'm going to run out soon. That's sunburn. It's told you that you've just depleted your vitamin A stores in the skin. You need to replenish. But you don't, because you choose to not do that. You choose to go and cut the cord that tells the dashboard to the fuel, we're empty. So now your problem's gone, the fuel light's gone away, and you keep driving, but inevitably you're going to run out of fuel. We find that most of our sun damage is done when we're young. Yeah, so this is really interesting because when we're young, our skin, it's born perfect. So it has like 93% stores of these storage esters of vitamin A. And storage esters of vitamin A, let's say this is a beautiful one, and then there's a more. These actually make up an SPF of 25 plus. So when I'm young, these give up their life for the light. But then we don't put them back in. So once it's depleted, the DNA where the skin is dividing from becomes damaged. And because the skin needs a lot of these antioxidants and vitamin A's to operate its immune system, the immune system's not so optimal, so it's not deleting the damaged skin DNA cells, so which means that skin cancers then can mature later in life. So how we want to repair that is we want to rebuild the vitamin needs, but instead of using chemicals that are luring you into a false sense of security, but also toxifying the skin and creating a free radical cascade. So when you heat that chemical, the skin's releasing a lot of free radicals, which is depleting the vitamin A, but is also aging the skin. So hopefully I'm painting this picture that if you're trying to control any skin disease, particularly things like aging or pigmentation or preventing skin cancer, there is no secret. The higher the numbers have gone up, skin cancer has not gone down. If anything, it's got dramatically worse. So when we're talking sun protection, we don't want to look at just UVB for burning. We want to protect from UVA and oxidative stress. And we want to be using replenishing the vitamin needs underneath the skin, because that becomes an SPF of 25 plus, and it can actually get the whole mechanics of the living tissue to be optimized and working well. And then we want to be protecting it. Why would you want to put this on in a day where the sun's not beaming on your skin? Well, because this has blue light protectors in it, as does the Oxygenetics. And they are both mineral sunscreens, and they are both shielding your skin. So every day I put the Rad and then some tinted Oxy on top, and that way I'm covering all my bases, so they actually are blocking when I'm on my screen. So the artificial light of the blue wavelength in the screen is so bright that it actually penetrates right down, and it destroys the skin so much. So we want to prevent from new damage, and then we want to rebuild the old damage, and then get the nutrition working in the skin so our factory is now optimized. And this is how we're on our journey to prevent all of those precancerous cells underneath. So clever sunscreen use. All sunscreen has 2 hours protection. If you're out hiking, you're in direct light, you do need to reapply. Like a 50 plus or a 15, you need to reapply, because you've still only got 2 hours protection of direct light. But if you're reapplying a chemical sunscreen, you're pretty much toxifying that skin, and you're getting a lot more free radical damage, and that means a lot more vitamin A depletion, a lot more stress on the skin. So the other thing is, remember, if you've got kids, children's skin are very easy to absorb things, even more than an adult. So when you're putting chemical sunscreen on the children, it makes my heart cry inside, because that is very toxic for their skin long term. So we're not doing them any favors. So that's why a lot of my clients have one of these in their preschool, and one in their backpacks, and one in their car door. So we're just making sure we're just using a safe sunscreen on a young person's skin. But when you're trying to repair old damage in the skin, we definitely don't want to be causing more oxidative stress or toxifying the skin either. So sunscreen's not a simple conversation. You want to be investing in good quality sunscreen. So when you're buying these over-the-counter sunscreens, they can be very cheap, but they're packed with chemical and they're doing a lot of harm long term. So the cheapest way to cover up the body is, wearing long active wear and cover the skin. But with the face, you want to be investing in really good quality sunscreen, particularly when you're wanting to control skin problems and reverse skin disease and have a long, gorgeous skin for a lifetime, which is what we're going for, longevity. All right, hopefully that helps. So what's the difference between a 50 and a 15? 3%.